first, we have Tazrath, played by...
Cerulean, and as a reminder, Tazarath is an evil paladin.
Excellent. Next up, we have our one player with two characters, Snake and the Fixer-Upper, played by...
Ryanaga, and Snake is a Yuan-Ti sorcerer of the Draconian origin, and Fixer-Upper is a half-orc war priest.
Excellent. Next up, we have Melrath, played by...
Stormy827, and Melrath is an Eldritch
what?
Eldritch Knight.
Excellent. And then I'll delete that. And last but not least, we have Bob, played by...
That is me, Barska, and Bob is a tiefling warlock.
Marvelous.
Also your uncle.
Bob's
your uncle.
Oh, that one took me a minute.
But
very badumpt. Anyways,
who invited you?
we do actually need this up because I'm going to be using this as a really shitty map because I don't have a map for this particular encounter. So before we get into it, I just want to remind everyone of what happened last time. In the last session, the party had finally managed to make their way through Dark Lake. They had taken the last lock down to the section of Dark Lake that is inhabited by the city of Gracklslug with Daragar. We also discussed and discovered that I had neglected to mention the incredibly important fact that Daragar can very naturally turn invisible as racial magic. Every single Daragar can turn invisible. And so as a result, their devotion to law comes out of a matter of self-preservation, because one can never be certain that that a room is empty when you are trying to plot things. So in the end, the party, with that information and some of the primer that I had given them on Daragar society, had decided that the most appropriate action was to attempt to take the front door and pass through customs properly instead of sneaking in and risking a more aggressive potential issue around getting arrested and maybe enslaved. So they managed to make their way past the front door. People don't necessarily believe them that a demon lord is arisen and stomping around the Underdark. And despite that, you've been allowed in. After having been allowed in, someone attempted to bribe you, and the party decided that ultimately you were just going to ignore him. And
I thought it was a her.
No, that was the nurse later.
Oh, that was before.
You might have been confused because of the beard. I understand.
Yeah. It is a very hardy beard, in all fairness.
No, who was the nanny?
The nanny? I think
Wasn't there a nanny?
Ilsa?
No. She was on an island and she tried to get us to do something.
Oh, I remember.
Oh, the green hag.
Yes.
Nanny Plunk. She lives in Dark Lake.
What a bitch.
Yeah, she was trying to help you guys out, and for some reason nobody wanted to take her advice.
I don't believe you.
Her. It didn't really work out, though, not taking her advice. But regardless, once you made it into the city, you've opted to ignore someone who attempted to extract a bribe from you, and you made your way to a bazaar, and at that bazaar, you had purchased a whole bunch of items for the party, including a couple of rather common magical items, and outfitted yourselves better to be able to take on the challenges before you. You also took the opportunity to get Sarah taken to a nurse, where you discovered, I believe, that he had been infested with some sort of demon spore, and some sort of fungus that is either not very common or unknown to the person who was doing the investigation. So he has been treated as far as you can tell, and he seems to be more himself since then. Now, once that finished, that's when things started getting real exciting. You ended up trying to go to the inn to check in for the night, and on your way to the inn, all of a sudden, oh, here we go. I'll just reread it. The rhythmic hammering of the city's forges is drowned for a second by a thundering roar and the sound of crumbling rock. Duragar and visitors alike turn to look at a two-headed, gray-skinned giant that bursts through the gate. He's howling madly and lashing out left and right, littering the plaza with rock and stone debris. And as he bellows, one of the swings connects with the Duragar soldier, whose broken body flies through the air and crashes near you with a sickening crunch. Now, in addition to that rampaging giant, there is also another giant whose name I have once again forgotten, who indicates that that is one of his clanmates who has suddenly gone insane and begs the party to subdue him so that he may be treated for this madness. And I also believe that last time somebody had observed that stone giants don't generally have two heads. That was affirmed to be correct.
I
So,
actually had Tazarath ask the guy point blank, does he normally have two heads?
yes, yes, yes. So,
That was yes the answer?
no, he does not normally have two heads.
Okay.
We had rolled initiative last time, so we're good to go there. I'm going to plop you guys on the battlefield. I'm also going to give you more space, and I'm going to do some quick drawing as well, and then we'll get started with the combat. Whoa. There we go.
What are our options for subdual damage? Because you
Oh,
mentioned that we.
yeah,
Go ahead.
it's going to be really simple. Rather than choose to make it complicated, oh, there's the problem. Rather than choose to make it complicated, all you have to do is, I want to know right now, is the party out to kill him, or is the party fine if you just knock him unconscious and attempt to take him, for treatment?
So here's the killing within the city walls is illegal, and that would get us. And so
You cut out in the middle of your sentence.
I said killing within the city walls is illegal, and it would get us
It would get you into what?
enslaved.
So I guess
I think the rules. I think the rules can be slightly disregarded in situations like these, but I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Well, we're
I mean,
also
he's gonna start killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He's,
if
he's
we're
actually
in a position,
he's technically killed a guard right now.
Right. Okay.
Here's what I'd like you to do. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna rearrange this a little bit further.
Are these other guards hostile towards us, or?
No, they are not. They will be hostile to the party if you, for example, include them in a fireball. That will make them very hostile.
I'll remember not to do that.
Yeah, just a pro tip there.
Don't throw your fiery balls at them.
I can only incinerate our remaining NPCs.
For the purposes of this map, please recognize that none of the terrain here is accurate. Please just consider it an otherwise featureless map. But I don't have one, so we're using this. What I am going to do is, remember that bazaar that I mentioned that was like north of the inn? Well, it extends downward. And so what I'm going to do is, let's see, we're going to draw across like this, and then I go like this. That's a portion of the wall. That's a portion of the wall. And this goes all the way back over to here. And so now you know where the wall is. I'm going to also be drawing little rectangles. And I'm just going to draw a couple of them. These things are, what's the word I'm looking for? Merchant carts, places where people are selling things. And so there are going to be Duragar that are sort of going to activate over time. And they will be placed near these things. The carts will provide half cover if you choose to shack up behind one of them, and they're going to be laid out at odd angles. So what I'm also going to do is here's a line The sole purpose of this line is that you guys cannot be placed further forward than it. Please arrange yourselves however you see fit to the north of that line. And I'm going to keep drawing. I can't draw a simple rectangle without making it look fucked up.
My name is Alex, and I like drawings.
I do. I love it when materials that I spend exorbitant amounts of money on don't come with the proper materials to play the game. Ooh, it gets me hard.
Sick burn.
There we go. And then here's one at an angle other than north to south.
So basically, he's like across the bazaar from us.
Yes, he broke
Okay.
through the stone gate. And actually, I need to duplicate him. Can I duplicate him? You know what?
Don't
I'm
do that.
just gonna go and grab.
Oh, his brother. That's what.
Yeah.
One head, two heads.
You don't have to.
Well, he's an ally.
Well, you don't have to.
And then I think I just go like that. Did that work?
Oof.
Does this work? There it goes. Okay, let me set him to
We all got shiny new magic weapons. Ooh.
neutral. Okay. And then I grab him from here and plop him on the field. And then make
Plop.
sure he's visible. And
He big.
he's very big. Oh, and I also have to say, there we go. Now he's got appropriate hit points to his condition. I'm going to set him to be pretty much right there. And draw one or two more of these things. And there we go. I am so good at drawing. You guys don't even know. Layers, pointers, selection modes. Nope, that's not it. Layers. That's not it. Minimize. Ah! Is it this one?
One day we will get to fight.
That day.
One sweet day.
Haha! Victory! Okay, marvelous. Now that the line's gone, party is arranged. Oh, there's one more thing, which has nothing to do with drawing. Exit drawing mode. There we go. When it comes... Let me arrange these guys as well. When it comes to the prisoners, do you want them in any particular location? If so, feel free to just place them however is tactically sound for you.
What prisoners?
Your prisoner allies, Ront, Fargus, Spiderbait. Actually, technically, only Ront and Sereth were prisoners. Everybody else.
Ron should be in the front.
He should be protecting us.
And then put him
Die for our tactical advantage.
Marvelous. Okay, we are finally set. So we're gonna start the battle with Fixer Upper. He rolled the highest initiative.
Oh, were we going to have the vote on Subdual versus...
Oh
Death?
yeah, let me just quickly check if you want to attempt to knock him unconscious. X if you don't care if he dies. Okay, that was simple.
Kind of both, but
I mean, I don't really care, but yeah. I'd rather not die myself.
Granted. Fixer Upper, you are first though.
So I am.
Yeehaw! I'm assuming we all have to move closer to do anything, right?
Yeah, what's the range?
Oh, you know what? Here, let me. If I do.
Here, let me draw some more.
I don't have to. If you mouse over Fixer Upper, there's a line directly to the target, and in fact, for the purposes of distance, because it's super helpful here, I'm going to pre-target everyone to the only opponent on the field.
Unless we throw fireballs around.
Well, if you do that, then, you're just really
The Durgars may not be happy if I destroy their marketplace.
That is actually entirely accurate. Now, if the stone giant starts throwing fireballs, then like clearly anything's fair game. So
Right, but he fires first. Okay.
yeah, he has to.
Why does that other stone giant say he's taken heavy damage?
He has. So the story
Oh.
from last time was that and I'm actually going to try to pull open the thing to get his name for this finally, and then when I do, I'll write it in the chat. Give me a second here. Okay, I have the names.
Yes.
I'm writing it down.
Oh.
You have to pronounce it.
Oh, I will, but I'm writing it down first.
You jerk.
I already have practice on this one because the other party's already been through this section. Okay. So the neutral / allied giant is Dorhun, and his brother is Rehud.
Cool. So I'm
Sounds
gonna
about right.
I'm gonna use spiritual weapon.
Okay.
The range is 60, so
Oh, for the purposes of spiritual weapon, let me get you a token.
thanks.
Let me try. Oh. Okay. Nope, that's not it. What, all of a sudden I can't get fucking letters? Give me a break here. I'm so tempted to do that. Oh, there's Ron. Well, we don't want to confuse matters. So, there. That's your spiritual weapon.
And it lasts for a minute, so is that 6 rounds?
No, that's 10.
Oh, it was one or the other. Okay.
Yeah, because each turn is 6 seconds. So
All right.
each round is all the stuff that happens in 6 seconds.
So, can I attack? Ready to go?
Oh yeah, you're already targeted.
Okay.
Nat 20. Oh, and I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention the reason that he's been injured is that Rehud was the person who threw Dorhun through the wall. They had been wrestling and Dorhun had been attempting to subdue his brother Rehud, who has suddenly gained exorbitant strength even for a stone giant and gone on this rampage. So he is very badly battered in the process. So there you go. Roll the damage.
Should I get an extra die or is it natural?
It'll do it all by itself.
Oh, okay.
Marvelous. That's that's above average. So well done. Your spiritual weapon manages to catch the stone giant off guard, and you manage a mighty crack against his shins, which he yelps and grasps at.
Ouch.
Next up is Bob.
Oh, already? Oh my. So, crap. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Once we get him down to 0 hit points, he'll just be knocked out instead.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
guessing
mostly
we
just
wanna-
going to try and get close and use my lay on hands to try and cure whatever madness is going on.
You really want to get close to this thing?
No, but
I mean, who does really?
This sounds like Harley Quinn's. Ooh, nice shot. This is Mind Spike. Okay. Oh, wait
And
a minute.
now,
He succeeded. That's,
Oh, yeah.
That's the opposite.
He had an incredible roll.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate. I'm sorry.
2 heads is twice the save.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
it says half as much damage.
Okay.
So is that auto-calculated?
Should be.
Okay.
And if it isn't, I'll adjust as necessary. Yes,
Yep.
there it goes. Half damage.
Cool.
So you extend your hand before you and spread your fingers to give yourself a shot at targeting. And as you make that connection with the stone giant's mind, you do indeed feel that his madness ends up forming a shield against the most vulnerable parts of his psyche. You lance out with your mind spike regardless, but it isn't as effective as you would have hoped. That said, like as far as just straight up damage, it, again is about medium, I think. Yeah, about that. So well done.
Meh.
Next up is the rampaging stone giant himself.
Oh boy.
Here he comes.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35,
Uh-oh.
40. And actually, he
Uh-oh.
needs to be back a little bit because he was in between stuff. Oh,
Now what?
now that he's slid to a halt here, he grabs a rock
Uh-oh.
No.
that he has set free from the. Actually, you know what? Rather than roll that, 6, 7, 8. Perfect.
Half your sentences are cutting out.
Okay.
At least half of yours are cutting out.
Yeah, I think that might be on your end.
Probably.
He grabs one of the boulders that was strewn on the ground from the breaking through of this gate, and he lifts it and he hurls it directly at Fargus Rumblefoot and manages a hit.
No.
I knew I should have cast Hold Person.
Okay, well, I'm just going to have to do this the other way.
Is a stone giant considered a humanoid?
No.
No, humanoid is a creature type in this edition, so it's specifically affecting that creature type.
We need hold monster, I would think.
Yes.
Well, I don't have that one.
That boulder is, of course, much bigger than Fargus Rumblefoot himself. It hit him, and he's down. He's past his maximum hit points. He didn't outright die, but
Good, so he's in death saves then?
he is in death saves. Let me check one thing. Oh, no, okay. So he made his rock throw, and that's it for his turn. So next up is Ront. Well,
Go, Ront, go!
the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Tomorrow. Anyway, so he charges across the battlefield,
Whoosh.
and he swings his great axe in an attempt to hook the stone giant. He finds that it actually just straight up bounces off its skin. And you can see, even from this distance, a good 15 feet away, you can see him turn a little pale at that, because of course the stone giant does not look kindly upon it. Now, Spiderbait has seen what happened to Fargus Rumblefoot. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So he's moved in an entirely separate direction, hoping not
He's
to be
running.
targeted. Oh, well, he does actually shoot. He fires off his short bow, but the stone giant simply just backhands the arrow. It doesn't even penetrate his skin. It just ricochets off. And Melrath, you are up.
I'm gonna hit him.
Good luck.
That's what you think. God.
All right. Fargus Rumblefoot. I will roll his death saving throw because he doesn't get one automatically. He gets a 19. That is a success. So I will make note of that somehow. And next up is Sareth. Oh. Yeah, no question. Marvelous. Sareth manages to get the rampaging stone giant with fairy fire. His entire form is suddenly outlined with a shimmering light. Every allied creature that attacks the rampaging stone giant will gain advantage on their attack.
I thought he was going to try to make out with him again.
Hopefully he's beyond that.
I hope. Oh, Lord.
There's only one way to find out.
Ooh.
Come here, level. Let me see here. Who is one? I see him. I found him. So let's see here. What is he going to do? Oh, wait. What's the range on this attack? 10 foot. Okay. What's the range on this attack?
Hey, we'll see.
Hmm? What?
I was saying, what's he doing?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Uh,
Increases in
uh,
size. Da, da,
all
da.
right.
See here. Aha! Okay. 5, 10, 15.
I like how the spectral weapon is just hanging out back there.
Adaragar Zaron charges across the battlefield. Wait, oh, I'm so sorry. I gotta put him back. I chose the wrong speed. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So he makes it to here. Let me target this guy so that I have... That's 15 feet. Oh, 15 feet is perfect. He's going to use Fire Spray. Oh, marvelous.
Yay.
He charges across the battlefield and slides to a halt behind one of the wagons, as it were, the carts. He sticks his hands around the corner in a Hadouken fashion, and from that, a gout of flame, a 15-foot cone, extends outward and licks at the stone giant's feet. Since he failed his save, he takes 14 points of fire damage.
Nice job.
Zarorn 2 is going to take a 5-foot step over, I think. Let me double check that before I do this. He's 15 feet away, right? So then if he goes here, he's 10 feet away. Perfect. He comes into position and he holds his hand up in the air above his head, and suddenly a flame springs from beneath his fingers, extending outward into the form of a javelin, and he hurls it at the rampaging stone giant's head. He gets a critical hit thanks to advantage.
Impressive.
Holy, how is that possible?
How the hell?
What?
Okay, let's see here. So there's a D12 plus 3, piercing type D12, fire type D6. Okay, so there's 2d12, which is for the piercing damage, and then there's 2d6 for the fire damage, because everything is doubled for a crit. Wow! So that
What a
fire
beast.
lance is just obscene, and I think, yeah, he actually just brought the creature down to half health with that volley. So fire javelins are no fucking joke.
Can we take him with us?
We'll pay you
He's
better
better
than the
than
guard.
Bont.
Trade Ron for.
I heard that. Snake, you're up.
Snake will be using Scorching Ray.
Scorching Ray it is. You're already targeted. Go ahead and cast.
Alright, where are you? Oh, there you are.
That's a hit.
Go advantage.
Now do I go to damage, right?
No,
Or do I
you can
oh.
keep rolling.
Okay.
That's another hit.
Advantage is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not on that one.
That's a miss. But I would point that, let's see, the first roll you dropped a 2, and the second roll you dropped a 12.
Right.
Anyways, you managed to hit on those two. The only time you ever need to stop is if you roll a crit,
Oh, okay, that's right.
because it'll fuck up the damage calculation. So go ahead and roll 4d6 just all together. Or actually, just cast the damage and do it twice. It'll be fine.
Oh, the one I can drop. Oh, it becomes 2, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Any
it becomes
ones
2.
become 2. So if you roll that, I will make sure I add the extra damage in. Well done. Okay, so it looks like an 8 and an 8.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So that's been taken care of. Next up is the stone giant. He is currently prone, which actually, how do I add that effect? Okay. I'll simply ignore the fact that there's an effect on him. So he's going to use his great club and really gets a good swing in there from the ground and swings again. Also gets another hit, which is probably going to fucking obliterate this guy. 20, 17. Yeah, so believe this is Dorhoon. Yeah, Dorhoon grabs the great club that he had been knocked away with, manages to pull it up and swing it at his brother's head, and he manages two solid clubs on both the head and the deformed head. The beating that he has just taken has left him like, well, I think you can imagine. It's basically what any strong person with an aluminum bat could do to a human. So he's on the verge right now. Like, that was an absolutely brutal attack on top of all the other damage he's already sustained. At this point, Duragar 1 is up. He is directly adjacent to the rampaging stone giant. I've got this! He swings his war pick, which hits.
Of course he does.
It manages 8 points of damage. It kind of tinks off of him like you're trying to mine. The others, Duragar, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. There we go. Ah, war pick! Hit.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. It is all brought together by
Tazrat didn't even get a turn.
completely unnecessary.
Oh,
The stone giant topples under the brutal assault and collapses to the ground unconscious. Um, the other giant, Dorhoon, stands up, and he also looks fairly worse for the wear. And he, where's the thingy?
I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to locate the. Okay, I found it. Giant. Okay, counter. Heritage. Got that by standards. Aha! Here we go. Oh, blah, 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 blah.
I'm going to do a quick cure wounds on Farkas before we go any further.
That's fine. Do you mean the actual spell or your lay on hands pool?
Yeah, my cure wounds spell.
Okay. You can drop the healing dice directly on top of the character. It should apply.
Yep. Eh.
Oh, wow, that was actually pretty good. Like, the maximum possible hit points good.
I'm also
Okay, I've got all the
next
information that
chance.
I needed.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that the giant has fallen, there were already other Duragar rushing to the scene from all over the bazaar, and you guys, of course, were first on the scene, along with the other Duragar that were present. Um, um, Rehud backs away from his brother as the Duragar that arrive on the scene make an immediate point of casting out nets and securing lines and doing everything they can to actually just like lock him down to the ground for the time being. Um, he is unconscious. He is brutally beaten, and he might have brain damage as a sustained ongoing issue.
On one of his heads.
At least.
I'm alright with a little brain damage.
Hopefully he
Who
is
hasn't
too.
enjoyed a little brain damage once in a while?
All of those kids sniffing the glue at the back of the classroom. Anyways, so as the other Duragar show up and they secure Rehud, there are what is the name of this person? It's a good thing I have my fucking book out. Here we go. Here we go. A dwarven woman in particularly expensive looking gear shows up. She has dark plate mail on. She has a very nice looking weapon at her side. She's really decked out. She has like helmet, everything. She's very clearly important in the guard. And when she shows up, all of the other Dare stand at attention. Nobody dares move without indication from her to do so. She storms up and um, Dorhun is standing with the party. He's kind of rubbing his own head from several of the bruises that he had taken trying to subdue Rehud, and she demands an explanation. Now, before anybody in the party can say a word, Daragar races over and comes to her side, and he immediately starts to explain what happened, describing breaking through the gate and everyone fleeing to not be crushed by a stone giant, as well as the party's um, um, uh, interaction with events. And he neither. I lost it. So sorry. Give me a second here. He's very level in his description. He doesn't go out of his way to exaggerate anything, but he also doesn't underplay any of the party's role in the actual set of events that occurred. He is complimentary to the fact that you acted to save the lives of citizens of Gracklslug, even though you yourselves are not citizens and therefore were not obligated to help. Um, Erida looks very suspicious because the entire group of you are just one hell of an odd bunch. And odd bunches to her clearly mean trouble from the look on her face. So she starts to insist that, well, I don't care what their role is. You will report to the Overlake Hold for questioning. Take them into custody. And upon saying that, uh, Dorhun leans down and puts a very large, open palmed hand in between you and Erday. And he speaks down to the little dwarf. Noble Knight Captain Erday, these people have chosen to subdue my brother in his madness, and I know that Stone Speaker Hram would be very interested to know that fact, and he puts a very pregnant point on that. I think that it would be important that they be considered guests of the Stone Giant clan and afforded all of the courtesies that we enjoy within this city. I will encourage them to make their way to Overlake Hold and answer any of those questions afterwards. But I think that I will make sure they are under my protection and my oversight for the immediate time. Erday glares up at him in absolute daggers, but he doesn't back down, and his face is very calm for someone who's had head injuries. And she eventually nods very slowly. So be it. And then she looks at you guys through the fingers of his open hand. I still expect to see you on my doorstep. Do not delay. And the party has nothing to say to
Tazarath
that?
nods.
Okay, there we go. So at this point, now that he's been secured to the ground, they start adjusting all of their rigging in order to tie him in a mummification fashion. And they have somehow managed to get several sleds to show up, and now they're assembling a group of people to start towing him in some direction. At this point, um, Dorhun turns to the party. Gentle foreigners, I sincerely appreciate the kindness that you have shown me today, and hope that acting on your behalf will prove to be the beginning of a fruitful relationship. Such kindness is often lacking in the Underdark, and it was more than I could have hoped. When you are ready, I would encourage you to come with me um, and see the Stone Speaker Haram. Stone Speaker Haram is a visionary of our tribe. He is the most important figure in it, and he is a great visionary, a prophet. He is able to speak to the earth itself and foresee the future. And sometimes it is clear, sometimes it is not, but he may consider offering you a boon of his gift in exchange for the act of service you have done on behalf of our clan.
Yay, we made friends.
Exactly. Would you like to go with him now? Would you like to go to the inn first? What does the party want to do?
Can
Bef-
I
bef-
roll to identify more about stone giants? I don't.
Yeah, you can. Would you like to
Okay.
try that?
Can I roll to identify what the hell is wrong with the suddenly two-headed stone giant?
Yes. I would say that it would be an Arcana check, probably.
Okay.
And stone giants are nature.
Um, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'll say nature or Arcana, whichever is
Oh, okay.
because they have aspects of both.
hmm
So whichever, if anyone wants to roll for them, roll whichever stat is better for you.
Well,
Okay.
Ha
There
cha
we go.
cha.
there you go.
There we go. Okay, so let me go into this. Oh, hold on, I gotta kill everybody real quick.
Whoa.
Now we understand why you like being the DM.
It's my secret pleasure. There we go. You.
Before they drag away the stone giant, also, I want to give a attempt at lay on hands to try and cure.
Well, hold on a second. Don't get ahead of me.
That sounds kind of dangerous. Sure.
Well,
He just wants.
don't put your
He
hands
wants
in his mouth and you'll be fine.
He wants to
Okay.
touch him.
Let's see here. Okay, so I got all that stuff taken care of. Let's go to the top of the round again. Actually, I guess I could just grab him from the other thing. It's fine. So I covered that. Right. First things first, let's talk about stone giants. Library, monster manual, stone. There we go. Okay. Stone giants, due to their appearance, have advantage on stealth checks made in rocky terrain. They can literally blend into their environment. Um, let's see here. Oh, just in case you did not know what a stone giant looks like, this is a stone giant.
Right.
He looks unhappy.
He largely is unhappy.
He looks like Dalcium.
Stone giants, by the way, unlike most races in the Underdark, which are some variant of evil, are actually true neutral.
Oh, okay. That's what I was getting at. 'Cause he didn't seem very evil in his behavior. All right.
Stone giants are reclusive, quiet, and peaceful as long as they're left alone. Their granite gray skin, gaunt features, and black sunken eyes endow stone giants with a stern countenance. They are private creatures, hiding their lives and their art away from the world. Let's see here. Among stone giants, artistry ranks as the greatest virtue. They create intricate murals, paint sprawling murals across cavern walls, and indulge in a wide variety of other artistic disciplines. They esteem stone carving as one of their greatest skills. Stone giants strive to draw shapes out of raw stone, which they believe reveal meaning inspired by their god, Scoreus Stonebones. The giants appoint the tribe's best carvers as their leaders, shamans, and prophets. The holy hands of such giants become the hands of the god as they work. I'm looking for anything else in here that's relevant.
So they're sensitive.
They are generally fairly sensitive. I'm trying to see. Because a
Except
lot
when
of
they
this
bring.
has to do with the surface world and is thus irrelevant to this particular setting. If you want to know more about them, and you go to the Facebook chat, and click on pinned messages, the Derigar primer is there, and it talks about the stone giant's role in this particular society if you scroll down to page 2. It's a short paragraph, it's not a lot to read. So I would encourage you to refresh yourself since you're now dealing with them.
I was just looking at that myself.
Good. As for, let me see here. So Chris rolled an Arcana check on the stone giant that fell. That Arcana check is not enough to tell you anything about what could possibly be affecting the creature. And so, in light of that,
Tazareth stews in his own inadequacy once again.
so
At least he's honest.
subtract 5 points from your lay on hands pool.
Okay.
All right. So you use your lay on hands in an attempt to cure him of disease or poison. You press that unholy light in there, attempting to sear it from him as you did Sareth, and find that while the energy is expended, you felt nothing be lifted from him through this process. If that helps clarify the nothing happens effect.
Curses.
It seems that whatever's wrong with this poor creature is more complex than a simple disease or poison.
Hmm.
So, anyways, is the party going to sleep or go with Dorhun?
If we sleep, we do a long rest.
Yes, which would bring you
I
back spells and hit points.
Yeah, I am out of spell slots, but if everyone else wants to go now, we can do that too.
I will also point out that what's her face, the Duergar guard, if you will, was quite displeased with us and wants to and might try to levy the forces of the law against us if we don't go.
You to clarify, just in case it was not, the current position is that you are free to go about what it is that you want to do as long as you report to her at some point today. So if you go with Dorhun, fine. If you want to take a hour-long rest or something back in the inn, because an hour-long rest will be enough for Kyle to get all of his spell slots back.
Okay.
So, anyways, I'm gonna do a vote because I'm getting necessary. Check if you're going with Dorhun. X if you're going to rest at the end. There we go. No abstainers.
All right.
There we go.
Let's go.
All right. So you have opted to follow Dorhun. Oh, you know what? There's a map for this area, so let me pull that up real quick.
Sorry, man, but we can't let whatever this craziness is get out.
Where's the map for this thing? Is it this one?
Spell slots or no.
Oh, here we go. Player map. This is what I wanted.
It's all good.
Here we go.
His cantrips are fine. It's not the end of the world.
Here is the
Cantrip
map
your
of the
face.
city. Map of the city. I'm going to clear off drawings so that clear drawing. There we go. Okay. And then enter drawing mode. So the fight occurred right here, and the party ends up being brought all the way over to here. Okay. So in the process of coming along and following him, you end up finding that the center of the city, there's this giant chasm that separates the two sides, and it's really mostly just a very wide chasm. It's not dreadfully deep. It's about 30 feet down, but it's got these really what's the word I'm looking for? Not steep embankments. And there are a number of points, as you can see, all of these little bridges that go across. The little tiny circle on each side of the anchoring points of these bridges, that's a tower. And although it isn't very well demonstrated along this entire portion of it, there is a wall that runs along the entire section of this entire space. The wall is kind of haphazard. It looks like like the ground occasionally will shift a bit, and so when the base of the wall shifts, it will suddenly start sort of leaning outwards or leaning inwards, but never quite enough to fall over, just enough to make it look awkward, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Um, and so you end up crossing at one of these points over a bridge. There are many Daragar all along this wall, and that's just the ones that you can see. You can actually hear some of them patrolling about, even if you can't, you know, see them. They're likely invisible. Um, and as you pass over this bridge and you look down into the area below, um, the space below you is kind of a gravel pit for the most part. All of the walls that come down to the base of this are like I said, just gravel. And there are creatures down there, Darrow, in fact. Darrow are mentioned in the primer as well. You can read a little bit about them there. Um, and I can tell you a little bit more if you're still curious. But they're mostly moving along down there. Um, at the far east and far west of the chasm, there is actually a giant gate that goes down into this chasm and serves as an entry point to the Darrow slums, where they generally live. And so there are creatures that are moving along that. There are some areas where some of the gravel has been excavated out to form stairways such that the Darrow can move up and into town. So you make your way across this entire chasm, and you come through the winding streets of Grackle Slug. There are, you know, poisonous fumes stretching into the air, making you cough and gag and rub at your eyes. There is magma exposed in some areas, flowing deeper down into the earth from up above. Um, and everywhere, this section of town especially, Daragar, Daragar, Daragar. Anybody here that is actually a you know, human height approximately, towers over all of the rest of the inhabitants, and Dorhun towers far far above even that. Like a lot of these dwarves are pretty much the size of his toes, but he is remarkably gentle as he, you know, stretches his feet out and lands them. He makes almost no noise, in fact, as he traverses the tile street. And once you make it far enough, there's a long tunnel that extends several hundred feet into the home of the Stone Giants clan. Cairngorm is the name of the tribe. Um, let's see here. Pass through that. Da, 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 da. When you come to the entrance, there are Daragar guards, as there have been everywhere else, but these guards in particular are different. Uh, Most of the guards have this really functional armor on. It's clearly well made, well crafted, but it's very plain. The guards that guard the entrance to this giant set of double doors, of course made of stone, um, are wearing plate mail that is engraved with stone giant runes, and it's incredible. It's the most artistic thing that you've seen here, or in fact, in the entire Underdark itself. The guards stand there and very clearly take their entire duty of protecting this entrance extremely seriously. Um,
Hmm.
and as Dorhun approaches, the Daragar both get on one knee and bow their heads towards the approaching Dorhun. Um, he waves a hand at the guards, who resume standing, and comes to the door. Uh, and he says, "Wait here, little ones. I'll be back soon," and closes the door. The Daragar guards stare straight ahead as if they're guarding the Queen of England herself, and there isn't actually a waiting area out here at all. Like these guards just stand all day long. There's no chair, nothing. So you're now in this cavernous space. There's this door that is the biggest door you've ever seen. It extends up 50 feet above you. And given the noxious gases and so forth that are in here, there's a fair bit of smog in the air. It actually extends up into the gloom. The very top of it is in fact quite hazy and a cloud of poisonous air. Um, and so after a short time, um, the door opens and Dorhun appears. Give me a second. Okay. I feel like, once again, I'm missing a little section of this, so I'm going to check my book, which I have with me. Past that. Underground Cavern. No, apparently I am not. That's fine. So,
Oh,
I had just added story. It's fine. Um, Dorhun appears. The Daragar guards kneel once again. They continue kneeling for your entire passage, but as you walk by, you can very clearly see that they are keeping eyes on you and actually hands on their weapons. Um, you enter into a very large complex that it just extends in different directions as far as the eye can see. Football fields of corridors and walls and whatnot. And Dorhun says, "I hope it will not offend, dear friends," but he extends his hand down to the floor, the back of his palm on the stone beneath him. Please hop on, and I will make our journey quick and pleasant. Does anybody not get onto his hand?
eh, we'll I'll go with them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to piss him off.
Everyone hops aboard, and he very rapidly accelerates up into the air and then begins to stride off at a pace that you would not have thought such a large creature capable of. Um, the gentle slip noise of his feet against the stone as you're projected further and deeper in. You are taken to a nondescript door, and as it opens up, there's a very large table in there, and it is obviously sized perfectly for stone giant use. Dorhun comes in and puts his hand on the top of the table, and he happens to let you guys off at another location where there is yet a tinier table, one that is sized for you and Daragar themselves, which is present. There is a tea kettle in the center. There are a number of cups arranged around. They're actually identical to those that Daragar cup that you guys have, the bronze one.
Hmm.
And there is a plate of small fungal matter that seems to be steaming, and you're not certain if that's because it's fresh or that's what it does.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
Knowledge cuisine, I guess.
knowledge, nature. You're still not entirely certain what exactly this fungus is. However, given the way that it's prepared and a cautious poke with your finger, it is in fact hot to the touch, and the steam rising off of it is in fact steam. Um, it smells an awful lot like pork dumplings, but it's very spongy bread. It is spongy in the same way that angel food cake is spongy.
Hmm.
Anyways, Dorhun leans down and whispers quietly for him, "My friend, please seat yourself at the table. Haram is the leader of my clan. While I will, of course, tell him of your accomplishments, the experience of being in his presence is for you and you alone. I know that he will treat you with the utmost compassion, um, but I must leave you here for now, and I will be back when he summons for me." And he stands and rises and exits the room. And he closes the door. And is anybody going to eat or drink?
Sure, I'll try the weird mushroom loaf.
Yeah, why not?
So you try the mushroom loaf, and it's pretty dang good. It actually tastes an awful lot like a pork bun, with the consistency of angel food cake. um, which makes you gag a little bit at first, but it's really not bad, and it's actually some of the better food that you've had, because a lot of the mushroom here is um, not exactly flavorless, but about the same level of flavor as fish, very subtle. And so this is one of the more flavorful things that you've had. Now, as you guys are seated there, I'm just gonna pick someone. Snake grabs the tea kettle and starts to pour someone a drink. And upon doing so, as it goes into the cup, you see a milky white fluid go all the way in and fill up to the top. It almost looks like perhaps warm milk, but there's some sort of silty material or something that's causing a swirl in the top of it.
Hmm.
Do you take a drink?
Sure.
This is awful. Absolutely awful. It tastes like you're drinking chalk, and it leaves a really nasty, silty like residue in your mouth. And when you sort of open it out and stick out your tongue, you can see that it's like coated the inside of your mouth. And in fact, as you sort of, unroll your own tongue to examine it, um, the the fluid that was there turns a bright purple.
Huh.
Ugh.
Interesting.
Gross.
I'll have some.
That sounds marvelous. Melrath pours himself a bit of it, and do you just drink it straight up? Do you like poke your finger in it? What?
Yeah, just drink it straight up.
Okay. You slam it, and he actually gags pretty considerably.
Yeah,
It
I had poison immunity, buddy.
he has poison resistance. Um, it it has such an it's really nasty. It has such an odd flavor, especially considering that it was put in a tea kettle. Your expectations were wildly different. And so you sit and you drink, and those of you who do, and eat. And a very short time later, less than 3 minutes, the door opens, and a, a an even larger stone giant comes in, and he has decorated himself with all of the runes that you saw on the plate armor
Hmm.
of the Duergar that guarded him. And he has even found a way of dyeing his own hair to match some of the shapes of these runes, which of course wrap around and extend. He has dreadlocks for a lot of his hair. And he has sort of a mohawk going down the top center of his head all the way down the back. He has a long, long beard, and he comes in and sits down at the table. He's very gentle, just like Dorhun, um, and as he sits there, he folds his hands, which are towering over you on the table in front of you, and he leans forward and he very gently says, "I thank you for the assistance to my clan. I would do you the favor of answering any questions you might have, be they about the city, myself, Rehud, or anything else you might want to know. I am a prophet if you had not been told."
What's
Okay.
the meaning of life? I'm kidding.
Oh, I was waiting. I was waiting to check just in
Kidding.
case. You might
Kidding.
not like it. The meaning of life is I will squish you.
Right?
Anyway, what questions would you like to answer? Things like, like the ones I asked.
The first thing Tazarath is wondering is what the heck was wrong with Rehud?
That's a good question.
That's an excellent question. Let me check to make sure that he has no specific, because I know the answer. I just want to see if he has a specific. Oh, that's interesting. As he addresses you to answer your question, you note that he refers to everyone at the table as Dreamlanders, with absolutely no explanation as to what the fuck that means. But he goes on to say that we are as of yet uncertain what exactly has grasped Rehud's mind. It has caused deformations upon his skin. Rehud himself was. Oh, hold on a second. I have a thingy. It's in a different section of the book. Here we go. Rehud was in contemplation in his daily spirituals, um, praying, contemplating, and communing with our god Scorius Stonebones, and he was there with three others. All of them were in quiet contemplation, and no one had said a word for 2 hours. And then suddenly, a brief flash of crimson light went off in the room, and he grasped his head and screamed as another head, another voice, screamed as well and erupted out of his chest. It came up to join the other side, and suddenly his eyes were filled with bloodlust. He turned and whirled and swatted at all of his other brothers, knocking them aside and charging out. He broke some very important relics, and
Hmm.
as of yet, we are still not certain what came over him nor how to stop it. Um, we have enlisted the help of. Hmm, give me a second. I don't want to get this wrong. And I see Melrath's dwarf hand, so give me just a second. I want to pull up the dwarf primer that I gave you guys for myself. Here we go.
Yeah, let me open that up again.
We have enlisted the Council of Savants in an attempt to figure out what happened. Um, they have visionary and prophetic capabilities that can even rival my own. And the more vision we have reaching out into the universe for answers, the more likely we will find the needle in the haystack, as it were. Yes, Melrath.
Yeah, isn't there that like chaos guy that we like?
Demogorgon? Yeah, I was going to ask
Yeah,
about him.
yeah. Maybe he calls that chaos or madness.
Um, as you suggest this, Haram's eyes suddenly turn sky blue and illuminate the room around you. Bright light out to 80 feet, and then dim light beyond that. And as he speaks, his voice is suddenly far away. Something evil stirs in the Underdark. The rock itself cries in pain and terror, and a madness creeps from the blackest depths. Pay heed to the sign surrounding you: a cave with two faces, rock devoured, and the land overgrown. The pebble believes itself flesh, the earth rejects its wards, and the tunnels shake in fury. And by these portents you shall know evil's presence, and of evil's face. This is of what the stone tells me.
Hmm.
Let's write that down.
Oh, yeah, here. Bloop. And actually, I think I can copy this into a note for the party.
Thank you.
I'm going to call. Whoa. Create new. Rams
Ooh,
prophecy.
somebody wandered off.
Who?
Uh, it seems Alexios's computer. Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay. Public and check. All right, so it is now in the notes. Haram's prophecy is available for you at any time.
Cool. Thanks.
Do you have any other questions for him? He is knowledgeable about all different aspects of the Underdark, but as far as the presence of the Demon Lord, that seems to be all he knows on the matter.
Let's ask about if he's ever heard of that demonic fungi or whatever it was that was infesting.
Okay.
The demonic makeout fungi.
Okay. So you describe the spore, you describe the effect that it's had, you describe the visual appearance that it had under certain conditions and what those conditions are. And Haram very intently and carefully listens to everything you have to say. And he doesn't say anything for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 minutes. He strokes his beard and he looks off into space. And he comes back down to your level once more. I am sorry, friends. As much as I value the Myconid for their hard work, um, I do not know an awful lot about fungi. It is beyond the reach of the stone and into the reach of, or into the realm of the living.
Hmm.
Oh, it was worth.
Sure.
What about that bitch who's following us? Um,
Oh,
Ilvara,
Ilvara.
yeah, is she like long gone, or should we ask him if he
you
can see her back there?
do you want to? You sure can.
Sure.
Okay. Um,
Tazrath has no idea who you're talking about, but we'll go along.
Haram shifts in his chair, and his eyes go cloudy and distant once more. The light isn't as bright as it was during the process of his prophecy, but he stretches out and his hands raise up to about chest level and lay out flat, and then his fingers begin to twitch as if he was controlling marionettes. Um, and he looks off into the distance, and then when he returns to you, dear friends, I sense that the drow is still searching for you. She is greatly lost and is now reaching out to see if she can find you in any location that she is aware of. You should be careful and be aware that not everyone will be friendly and asking information of you for your benefit.
Hmm.
Okay.
So this little fracas that we had may actually have tipped her off, or may do so at a later time.
What do you mean? What with the stone giant?
Like if she winds up in Gracklestug and
Oh,
winds up hearing about this, she might pick up our.
that's possible. Although it,
Should
mhm.
should we ask him where to go next, or do we already know that?
Well, what's your ultimate goal?
That's a good question.
That's an extremely good.
Your
To level up?
the party's ultimate goal in this adventure is actually to reach the surface, to escape the Underdark.
Can
Oh,
we
it's not
ask
to kill Demogorgon?
I
Okay.
mean, no, if you want that to be your objective, I am all for that. That'll be a great battle. But, but technically, as far as the adventure is written, the players are encouraged to escape the Underdark and make their way to the surface. Now, that's one of the reasons that the party may come to Gracklestug, as Chris actually now has correctly pronounced, um, might come here because this is a center of trade. There are surface goods that are available in the city, and someone may actually know a way to the surface.
Can we ask him that?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, he thinks on this for a while. His eyes don't go cloudy, and he says that, well, um, I personally have never left the Underdark. I was born here. My parents were born here, going back a great distance into my line. Um, we are with the stone, and that is where stone giants are meant to be. Um, there are ways to return to the Dreamlands. Um, I know that there are some merchants here that know the paths, but I dare say that without great effort on your part, or perhaps something to hold over them, you may find it extremely difficult to find out whether anyone knows anything or have the leverage to force them to tell you. Um, what I can say is that there are um, two other two other places that may better suit your needs. The Myconids have a hidden grove called Neverlight Grove, and that little sprout that you have with you. He is always aware of the direction and distance to his home. It is a function of the Myconid that they can always find their way back to their grove, and that is why they have taken such great pains to hide it from outsiders. Beyond that, there is the deep gnome city of Blingdenstone to the far north. That place is known recently to be dealing in a great deal of surface artifacts, and you may find the way to the surface there, for deep gnomes are far more helpful than deep dwarves. And that is true for the record. Deep gnomes are known to be the only inherently good race in Underdark.
I keep forgetting about that little sprout too.
Oh, so they're not even neutral. They're actually good. Wow.
They're on the good axis. I think they might be neutral good. And actually,
Okay.
let me pull it up. Monster manual, NPCs, alphabetical index, deep. No, deep. Oh God, Kyle's gonna make me say this one too. Snurf
You damn
niblin.
right I am.
Snurf niblin. Look at this
What is it
stunning
again?
beauty.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. What is it again?
Snurf niblin. Snurf niblin are neutral good creatures. That's about as good as things get down here.
And that's far north,
Here,
right?
my
So is
lord.
that a long way away?
Actually, I can show you on the map.
Okay, great.
Let me double check that. I want to make sure there's nothing on there that shouldn't be shown.
Did we ever talk to Sprout?
About what?
Can we communicate with him?
Yes, he understands you
Okay.
telepathically. He's translating for you oftentimes.
Oh, forgot about that.
Oh, here we go. Wait. Come on. D&D follows. God, this is a nightmare. DM maps. Okay.
Do you have one that shows us all the
I found
enemies?
it. No, but I'm gonna add a layer to this before I share it with the party, and then I'm gonna unlock, or rather uncover the stuff that you guys have already found. And so then I uncover this, and that, and then I'll uncover this, and I'll uncover its name as well. And okay, I think I'm ready to share it, just in case there's stuff that I don't need to show you. Share sheet. Okay, this is the DM's map for all of the Sword Coast, because remember, the Underdark is actually underneath the earth. And so the Sword Coast, for example, let me see. I think it's right about here is Neverwinter, by the way.
What's Neverwinter again?
Neverwinter is a very well-known city along the Swords Coast. There's Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate. There, the setting of Faerun, which is the world that you are presently on, is one that has been around since second edition Dungeons and Dragons in 1980. So that's why I mentioned the name, because I know the other players will be a little more familiar with it. So let me start.
Here's a random question for you. Owing to our previous campaign, since Neverwinter would be about under there on the how
Phandelver's
far
right
away?
here.
Yes, I was just about to. Could we get to the surface through the cleared mines
Of
of Fen?
Phandelver?
Yeah.
Well, remember, there's a lot of collapsed passageways. It might actually be possible, though. Like, you might have to do a little excavating, but, like, that might actually be a better solution than anything else. Of course, these characters were never in Phandelver, thus they do not know where it is. But just for the interest of you guys, you've been adventuring along, this coast before, and the previous adventure was set on the surface. So I just wanted you to know that's a place that it is. And if we choose to do Princess of the Apocalypse, that also takes place on the surface over all of this, and that's part of the reason I'm not entirely showing the map.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, so if you'll follow me for a second, I'm going to do some drawing again. Right here, oops, I don't want to move that pin. Right here, this is Velkin Vale. Clear the drawing.
Is that where we started?
Yep.
Okay.
And then right here, this is Slugdildop.
Mm-hmm.
Where Demogorgon came ashore, and then you guys made it all the way over the surface of the Dark Lake, all the way down to here, which is Gracklestug, and that's where you presently are. Now, Blingdenstone, Blingdenstone, I have to switch to enter mask mode. Blingdenstone is up here to the north. Now, I'm also going to show you this. I know this doesn't entirely help you, but there's a little thing that explains what a hex is. Each hex is 24 miles. And I know the hexes are not super clearly shown on this. And in fact, I'm going to erase some of these drawings to make them a little easier to see. But I can
They're pretty.
tell you. Yeah, they are. I'm going to actually use the map in my book because that is a lot clearer. Let's see here.
We also have a general idea of where Menzo Baranzan is from Valkenvel, the Drow city.
It would be north and to the east of Blingdenstone. Okay, so I have my little map here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like it's about 8 hexes from Gracklestug to Blingdenstone.
Okay.
So that means 192 miles. That's a lot of walking.
We would walk 200 miles and
And the dark lake goes up towards there some more because
It does. And
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to unveil. Actually, I think I can use a thingy to draw an outline. Is it this one? I think this is it. This outline isn't going to be perfect, but that's okay. There we go. That's Dark Lake. So as you can see, Gracklestug allows you to sort of go up over the Dark Lake. And I know that there's some weird things of it because they show surface topography over Underdark features. And so that's why it has that hash mark on it. So anyways, yes, it would be possible to take the Dark Lake up in that direction. Give me a second. I got to check something in. Here we go.
Because, I mean, we're basically ready to leave again, right?
Well, at the moment, you do also still have to stop over at Overlake Hole, because if you attempt to leave,
Oh, that bitch. Yeah.
she might be pissy.
Yeah, the whole invisibility thing concerns me.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, you might be able to get something up that way. However, the fact of the matter is that not an awful lot of people, and this will be paraphrased from Haram, when it comes to trade, the Dark Lake is not something that people generally do a lot of trade over. There isn't even much of a purpose in going out there to like fish. Like, yes, the fish are present. Yes, a lot of the fish are even deadly. But more importantly, all of the noxious fumes, of course, settle into the lake. And so, like, right outside of Gracklestug, that area is very dead. You kind of have to go much further into the Dark Lake in order to sort of get away from that. And even then, the pickings are pretty slim.
Could we get any more information on the overland route then? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Stone Speaker is able to generally just sort of describe the path, and as he is doing so, between him and Stool, you are able to get a sense of the hidden location of Neverlight Grove.
Ah, there we go. So it's on the same path.
It's on the path, and it's also going around the sort of outside of the Dark Lake. And so you because Stool is in your party, you will be able to find it if you choose to visit there. Now the Myconid are, I believe, well, I'll pull it up. Let's see here.
Please tell me they're not evil. Evil mushrooms scared me. I had a few bad trips back in the day.
Here are these handsome folks.
Whoa, that looks pretty evil.
These are Myconids. Myconids are intelligent ambulatory fungi that live in the Underdark and seek enlightenment and deplore violence. If approached
That's good.
peacefully, Myconids gladly provide shelter or allow safe passage through their colonies. Myconids are lawful neutral.
Ah, there we go. Excellent.
Let me see here. Oh, actually, both because of Stool and Haram, I'll just read some of the entry from the MM. The largest myconid in a colony is its sovereign, which presides over one or more social groups called circles. A circle consists of 20 or more myconids that work, live, and meld together. A meld is a form of communal meditation that allows myconid to transcend their dull subterranean existence. The myconid's rapport spores, which are what allow you to communicate telepathically with creatures you encounter, um, bind the participants into a group consciousness. The hallucination spores then induce a shared dream that provides entertainment and social interaction. Myconids consider melding to be the purpose of their existence. They use it in pursuit of higher consciousness, collective union, and spiritual apotheosis.
They're getting high.
Absolutely, on their own spores. Myconids
High on
use
the
their
supply.
rapport stores.
Tazrath is discovered.
He's what?
He is discovered by these hippies.
Ah. Myconids also use the rapport spores to communicate telepathically with other sentient creatures. Like other fungi, myconids reproduce by the mundane sporing. They carefully control their spores' release to avoid overpopulation.
Okay, cool.
Let me see here. Oh, one of the other things that is pretty important to know is that when a myconid takes damage, all other myconids within 240 feet of it can sense its pain.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of that Diablo mod that we used to play, where like the sparkling mushrooms would mob you. It was insane. You get shocked with lightning.
Oh yeah.
High lightning. Ah!
God, I hated that. Anyways.
It was hard.
It was really hard. And that was part of the fun of it.
Yes. I love watching Chris die. Just saying.
That is the information about Neverlight Grove and myconids themselves. So
Okay.
Watching me die is
Favorite
fair.
pastime.
It's fair because I.
That's
did
why we
enjoy
played.
Dynamite.
That's why we played LOL all those years, just to watch you die.
So ultimately, your best bet is to head to the surface. The myconids, because their place is hidden, may have some information about that. Or, at worst comes to worst, if they don't, they can probably help you on your way to Blingden Stone.
Right.
And what's Blingden Stone again?
Blingden Stone is the home of deep gnomes, the
Oh,
Snurgliblin.
okay. I keep
goody
forgetting
gnomes.
all these damn names. Jesus.
I know, right? You need a fucking glossary. And the best part is there's no pronunciation guide for any of this.
Of course not.
Well, that is the best part.
Yeah, yeah.
For me.
Snurgliblin. So anyways, so that's the information he's able to give you about the local topography and what lies around you. And so,
Well, to get back to what Kyle said, yeah, I really don't want to stay too long in this particular location, but I also think we have to report to our Dwarven superior.
yes, indeed you do.
Is there anything else we want to ask Mr. Stone Man while we're here? It seems like he's a good source of info.
5,
No.
4.
Oh,
3.
I'm trying to think of stuff, but
Oh, okay. I thought you were just sitting there.
I don't know.
Okay, then.
How about like what's the best way out of Grackle Slug?
So the area around Gracklestug is known to be somewhat dangerous, and he hedges there for a moment because Gracklestug does a lot to make sure that a very set perimeter around the city is safe. And the
Mhm.
purpose behind that is to make sure that the trade that the city enjoys, that keeps it a power in the Underdark, does not dry up. But at the same time, the deep dwarves are so methodical that you can literally draw a chalk line of exactly where their fucking territory ends. And so bandits knowing this just basically camp outside of it, knowing that the dwarves won't give a shit once you're, 2 inches beyond that line. So what he would suggest, I think, my friends, that your best bet would be either to take a boat out of Gracklestug a short distance over the lake, and land on one of the shores and abandon the boat there and then attempt to travel over land.
Mm.
The Dark Lake, as I'm sure you already are aware, it can be quite treacherous, and it may not entirely lead in the exact direction you wish to go regardless. If you can, either signing on to a caravan as guards or signing on as passengers, that's headed in the general direction you seek to go may be your best bet.
Hmm. Thank you, wise stone man.
You're welcome, small fleshling.
Wise man of stone.
So, is final call. Anybody have any questions left?
I can't think of anything else.
Marvelous. At this point, Hram lifts his hands and, again, gently claps them together, just loud enough for it to echo a bit in the chamber, and the door opens, and Dorhun comes in. He comes in and has a a small piece of cloth in his hand, and there's some sort of lump inside of it. And he strides over to the table, and he very gently on the table at which you are seated around places the object, and then uses his fingers ever so gently to pull back the cloth that obscures your gift. Hram says that he offers you a polished crystal, the Stone Speaker crystal, as sorry about that. The Stone Speaker crystal as a token of esteem to the party for the service that they have rendered. Give me a second. This crystal anyone who holds this crystal, it's 19 inches long and it's a shard of quartz. You will gain advantage on your investigation checks while it is on your person. The crystal has 10 charges, and while holding it, you can use as an action to expend some of its charges to cast one of the following spells from it. Speak with animals, 2 charges. Speak with the dead, 4 charges. Or speak with plants for 3 charges. When you cast a divination spell, you can use the crystal in place of a material component, which we don't use anyways, blah, 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 blah. The crystal regains 1d6 plus 4 expended charges daily at dawn. If you expend the crystal's last charge, roll a d20. On a 1, the crystal vanishes, lost forever. This
Okay, cool.
is your gift.
But we can't talk. Oh God, that's huge.
It is. It is a giant 19-inch long crystal shaft.
It also works as a weapon.
It certainly does not.
It also works as other things.
The thing that actually...
How come we can't talk to stones with it? I mean, stone speaker.
Well, the stone is the speaker. Like, it's translating for you, you see.
I want to talk to rocks like this guy.
Yeah. So who wants the stone speaker crystal?
Just throw it in my inventory.
Honestly,
Throw it in.
given the investigation thing, I would give it to the fixer-upper.
Well, yeah, let's give it to whoever has the best roll anyway, I would think. I have...
Oh, hold on
The
a second.
best
I
what
can actually
roll?
figure this out very quickly. Investigation. Let me see here.
It's intelligence, so...
Actually, technically that person is going to be Will. But the fixer-upper is the next best person.
Okay.
So who do you want to give it to Will then?
It was investigation. What was the other one?
No, that's it. That's what it does.
Oh, I thought there was another check.
No,
No?
it just gives you advantage on investigation checks.
Well, I'll hold on to it for now.
Okay, then I will move it to the fixer.
And the upper.
No, whoa, that's not right. Oh, there's no the. That's the problem. There we go. Assign. All right, it's been assigned to you. So stone speaker crystal. Blah, 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 blah.
And what do we say to him again?
Thank you would probably be wise.
No, thank you, Wise Stone Man.
Oh, it is a pleasure, small fleshlings. Anyways, at this point, Dorhoon, bows deeply at the stone speaker, lifts up the party, and Haram bids you farewell, wishes you safe travel, and hopes that you are not shortly enslaved after leaving this building.
Oh.
Oh, it didn't roll. It didn't add advantage.
You have to do that yourself. You click the advantage button, then roll.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the party is shown out of the stone giant complex, as it were. And at this point, it sounds like you need to head to Overlake Hold.
That's that big stalactite complex in the north, right?
Yeah, you actually passed it on your way in.
Alright.
I'm trying to find the appropriate link here. Here it is, Overlake Hold. Doop, 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 doop. Okay. Don't need to worry about that. So the party travels back over. I'm gonna close this Swords Coast map. Actually, you know what? Let me save that in case I want to show it later, and then close that. And so now we're back to this map, which I'm gonna force to be in your vision.
Whoa.
Yeah. And right. Let's also erase my drawings. So the party heads out of the Cairngorm Cavern. You make your way back across all of that, all of those bridges, and the Overlake Hold is located right here. So you find your way over, and you're actually quite surprised. You were with the stone speaker, and it took you, you can see at the bottom, although it's a little dark, that the distance marker for 1,600 feet. So you guys, took a fair amount of time to get over here. It's a large metropolitan city. And as you make it all the way back over, you once again see the Overlake Hold, which I'm going to describe briefly. It is a fortress and a temple dedicated to Laudiger, carved into the heart of a massive stalagmite on the shore of Dark Lake. It is also home of the Deep King and the center of government. It bristles with forged chimneys from which smoke billows and ledges from which catapults can hurl stones at waterborne invaders.
Quick question. Can we get that hour rest now, or
Oh,
no?
would you prefer to do that now? You can hop over to the Grolborn's lair and rest before you go.
I feel like we'll be entering an encounter. So,
At the lair?
well,
Overlake Hold.
at Overlake Hold, I think I don't think this is going to go well. Just a theory.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to use this opportunity to heal the living crap out of Farkas.
right here, I circled it on the map, is where the inn is. It's really not far from Overlake Hold. It's perfectly fine if you guys want to stop by and rest up.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Since
So I'm just going to give everybody their short rest. I wish there was a way that I could just apply this to the party instead of having to apply
right.
it to individual spell shares. But I haven't figured out how to do that. There probably is a way, and I don't.
Do short rests reset spell slots?
They do for you and only you.
For you.
Ooh.
Your
Spell slots.
style. So special.
Slots.
So, once you make your way into the Grolborn's lair, and Grolborn is Derogar, which means boulette, which is a land shark, as it were. Anyways, you come inside, and this place is a mishmash of characters. They're all Underdark races for the most part. You see a single human amidst the crowd. That's the only surface race that you recognize. They are all in there. For the most part, they're actually pretty well behaved for a bar slash hotel. Everyone's speaking at a dull roar. And nobody really seems to take much note of the very odd group of people that enters the inn altogether. There is a bar in the back that is the longest part of this, and it is located, or sorry, this room is located in the center of the stalagmite under which it is founded. And then off from it, extending sort of like spider webs, are different passageways leading to rooms and other places. Um, there are drow here, there are deep gnomes, there are kobolds, there are goblins, there's even a couple of orcs. Actually, I guess I kind of lied. Orcs are both surface and subsurface, so whatever. Anyways, even just walking into the bar and sort of getting into the main room, you can hear people whispering about all different goings on in the Underdark around you. Um, and so when you walk up to the bar, um, the dwarf behind the counter, he has this world-weary glance that he kind of gives you, like he's seen everything and now you all have strode in, that sort of thing. He hawks up a loogie and spits it into a platoon behind the counter. Do you need something to drink or a place to lay your head?
The latter, good sir.
Ain't nothing good about me. He reaches under the counter and he pulls up a massive ledger and he plops it down onto the countertop. It has a picture of a boulette carved onto the surface of it in this leather tome, and he, spins the whole thing open, and it slides right open to the most recent open page. He grabs a quill and ink from behind the desk, and he jabs at the page impatiently. Here, here, sign here, all of you, one name per line.
I'm scared.
Put your coin on the table.
How much coin are we talking?
Oh, let me see
Quick.
for the party. It'll be 20 gold for the party. This includes a place to sleep. It's like a night's stay, and it includes 3 square meals a day, plus your first 3 drinks are free.
All right.
I'm not sure if we have 20 gold to spend, though.
That's a question.
I do.
Which of course breaks out to 4 gold a person, which is how you should calculate it.
Do we need to subtract anything?
Yeah, 4 gold per person.
Oh.
We're trying to get your spells back, buddy.
Sorry. What's 554 minus 4?
550.
Don't answer that.
Starmy, use your math degree for this.
No, it's sitting there on my wall looking pretty.
That's exactly what it was meant to do. Okay, so everybody slaps down their coin, and the Derigar greedily, scoops it up, puts it away. He hands you each a set of keys, and one set of keys is for your room, and the other set of keys is for the bathroom. So, you have your keys. Eat and drink for a short time. Food here is actually pretty decent. It is, again, mostly bland, fairly tasteless. The drink, however, for some reason, is the most flavorful part of it, and it is a very sour ale of some description, probably
Nice.
made off of fungi, like every other fucking thing. When you do actually go into the hallways, they have luminescent fungi that grow on the wall to serve as torch sconces. Your rooms are all in the same general vicinity, and they are, well, how do I put this? Have you ever seen those pod hotels?
I've seen like pictures of them.
Oh, cool. Let me grab a quick picture.
Pod hotels.
Images. Here we go. This is a pretty decent one. Share, link, copy, into the Discord group chat. Bloop.
Oop.
There you go. This is a very, very nice version of it, but this is about the size, and it does, however, have 2 beds suspended one over another, which actually just come right out of the wall. And so there is no. It looks like there's a bathroom in there. That bathroom isn't present. So it's actually about half the length because you don't need that bathroom there. But that's how big it is. And they've really fucking stacked these things into the stalagmite. They have a huge capacity for people. And so yeah. Um, Anyways, party's able to take a rest for about an hour. Nothing disturbs you. There's no bar fight or anything. As you guys are headed out of the room and back into the main room, the fixer-upper suddenly senses someone leaning over him from behind. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say the fixer-upper? I meant Melrath. Yeah, Melrath will roleplay.
Someone leans over my back. What?
Yeah. There's a person there leaning over you.
Oh, they're being very invasive of my space.
So what do you do?
Nothing.
All right, fine. That person leans over Bob. Bob will engage in roleplay.
Who the fuck is that?
Finally! Bob whirls around and finds an exceptionally tall drow elfess, a female drow. She is leaned in awfully close to you and appeared to maybe have been sniffing your hair?
Bob doesn't have any hair.
That makes it all the more awkward.
Who the fuck are you?
I am Darodel. I couldn't help but notice that you have a drow companion with you.
Yes, and?
It is rare to see a drow companion in this city. After all, the Darogard do not consider us friends, and we are let in very small numbers.
Well, we're not really fond of him either, but he's along for the ride, so...
Sarah looks hurt. I wanted to make certain that you didn't have any subversive ideas, perhaps, that might get that poor drow with you into trouble. Our males are ever so impulsive, and I see that's true for other species, she says as she looks you up and down. I would hate to have something that he did affect my trading licenses.
What do you want? What's your end game here?
I just wanted to put in a friendly word of warning that should you do anything to disrupt the ability for drow to enter and leave this city, well, what's your name again?
Mine? It's Dave.
Well, Dave, you might find that you have more than Duragar on your trail, and I would suggest that you stay in the very best, I've lost the word, give me a second, behavior that you are capable of while you are here.
We're simply looking for a place to heal our good drow friend, and we are now on our way out.
Well, aside from the horrible scar on his face, what's wrong with it?
Did you say it?
Yes, it.
Unfortunately, he came down with a rare demon fungus, but he seems to be healed of it.
Her face is contorted in confusion. I'm sorry, a what?
That's what we said, but we're still not quite sure where it came from.
think it might be best if you perhaps remit him to the care of his own people.
Would you like to take him?
Keep him with us. He's been useful.
Just a little bit of context that Sereth himself would be able to tell you. Um, Drow males are a little better than
Bitches.
slaves in society. Yeah, bitches is very appropriate. Um, they're just really at the bottom of the totem pole, and there's just yeah. The females, sort of trade them literally, as livestock, breeding stock, so on and so forth. Um, and they are limited from attaining much higher positions in society. So you'd basically be turning him over into slavery once again,
Mm,
by putting him in her care. I don't know if
mm.
that bothers you, but that's the truth.
Well, as much trouble as he may have been, I think it best that we stick together for now. So we'll be on our way. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Next.
As the party quickly walks away, she stands there without moving and glares at you as you exit the establishment. Anyway, so at this point,
She's gonna rat us out to Elvara when she comes by.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Bitch.
Burn her.
have a drink of the tea there for a minute.
Burn the
Anyways,
witch.
so it's a short stroll back over to Overlake Hold, which we've talked about a million times at this point. It is, however, 9:06, and I don't want to go too terribly much longer. So if you want to just get a short explanation, I'll do that. If you want to leave it till next time, that's fine too.
I'm down for either.
It's up for you guys. I'm fine with continuing. Get Grackle
So
Stew.
a brief explanation. How long do you mean? You think?
Oh, 5 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
And I will also downplay some of the role playing to get the information across. You show up at Overlake Hold, and when you arrive at the front door, there are a number of guards. This place is bristling. It is, of course, like the police station center of the town. In addition to being a political capital, it the Deragar that are here are very swift in taking you into the interior. They take you into a series of winding corridors, and you pretty quickly lose your way inside, but they seem to know exactly where they're headed. And eventually they bring you to a space where there is a room, and there's a long table, kind of like one of those picnic benches that you would see generally, made out of zirkwood, which is a fungal equivalent of wood in the Underdark. And it seems to be some sort of interrogation bench, as it were. Like, the perimeter of this room is a whole bunch of jail cells, and there's a variety of different criminals inside of those jail cells, and almost all of them are not Deragar. There's a single Deragar in a cell. Everything else around you, kobolds, orcs, drow, so on and so forth, all of these different creatures around. And a lot of prisons can be a fairly rowdy place. This place is dead silent. All of these people look fucking miserable, and they also look afraid to say a goddamn thing. So you're brought in, you're placed on this bench, and within 30 seconds, Eride strides around the corner and plops herself down at the bench. And she immediately looks at all the other guards that are in the area, instructs them to silence the prisoners, which is an odd statement to make since they are making no noise. A shimmery curtain is drawn over the front of all of these jail cells, and then she nods to the guards. They leave. Um, she walks over, holds the door open a moment, and says, "If there's anybody else left in here, I demand privacy." Waits for a moment and then closes the door. She closes the door and comes all the way over and sits down. She puts her arms and elbows on the table and stares you in the eye. I understand that you're actually prone to be helpful, which is a trait that is not frequently displayed in the Underdark. And since you are so prone to be helpful, I need your help. And in exchange, I will see to it that you are put on the next caravan out of here upon completion of the task that I have for you. You will not have to pay for the caravan, and I will see to it that no one on the caravan knows your name or your face. I don't think that you can get a better deal in the Underdark, but if you think you can, the door's over there. What do you say?
With
Context, what does caravans usually cost?
Um, it's one of those things where it's a kind of hidden cost situation. Like you
Okay.
might be able to pay 30 or 40 gold to get into one, but can you necessarily know that that particular caravan isn't going to mention, oh, we saw this really weird group of adventurers, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah.
Okay.
So her deal is essentially to guarantee your anonymity and pay your way on these caravans. So you're probably saving 30 or 40 gold, but you might also have to bribe people a fair amount to keep their mouths shut.
I see. Thanks. You had a thought, Chris?
me?
Yeah.
I was just saying we're listening
Oh,
in
okay.
character.
Okay. Erode looks at each one of you, stares you directly in the eye to make sure that she has your undivided attention. She says, there are strange signs of corruption among my people. The law-abiding nature that binds this society together has been showing slight cracks in it. And one of those cracks, possibly the most important crack, is a man named Droki. I note that you were in the Blade Bazaar, she says as she unrolls a scroll that seems to detail all of your comings and goings. You spoke to Yulsa, the nurse? Regardless, Droki is a Darrow who has been seen creeping about in that bazaar. And although no one's actually been able to catch him exactly, it seems that in the wake of the stalls that he creeps about, magical components have been going missing.
Hmm.
Also, some of those merchants that have suddenly suffered missing materials have started to show signs of madness. And I fear that these two things are connected. But in an uncharacteristic show of precision, Droki has managed to evade every set of guards sent after him, even the invisible ones. And it's to the point now where, should any guard be near him within 40 feet, he vanishes, and we have no idea how. So the only way that I can think of to possibly track this felon is to get your help, because he won't know to look out for you.
Hmm.
So what I want you to do is capture him, whether that's dead or alive. Bring him to me. But most importantly, follow him. See what he does, where it is that he is going, and report back. If there's an opportunity to seize him and bring him in for questioning, so be it. But if you kill him, I won't shed a tear. I fear that at the greatest depths that Droki is in the center of something that could uproot this entire society, and I need proof that that is so, and you will bring it to me. Do we have a deal?
Boy, she's bossy.
Captain of the Guard.
I believe we do.
So be it. You
Um,
were never here. We never spoke. I, if I were you, would head to the Blade Bazaar and look out for him. And I actually have a picture.
I will say that our companion next week can see invisible people, right?
I don't
No,
think he
not
has that
yet.
ability. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, he can't do the impossible. See Ro fight the power.
Well, at the very
Um,
least, this dude won't be expecting us, right?
That's the plan. Anyways, there's a picture of him somewhere. doesn't need to be brought up now. We can deal with that next week. That's all I wanted to cover with this particular session. I wanted to set up for the next segment of the adventure in this town. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And let me end this.